Storytime. I'm a 27-year-old woman, and my ex, 26M, broke up with me in January after 9 years together, saying he didn't see me as wife material. Now, out of the blue, he's reached out saying he wants to talk because he has something he needs to get off his chest. I'm confused about why he's doing this and whether I should agree to meet with him. I was with my ex, who I will call Nate, because if I'm being honest, minus betraying a friend, I was a Cassie. I don't want to go too much into the details, but for the last 9 years I lost myself to Nate. He was my world, everything I did was for him. I helped him through depression, helped keep his grades up, even worked 2 jobs so he could focus on collage when his parents disowned him for nearly 3 years because they didn't agree with the major or collage he chose. Bear in mind, I was also a collage student. When his parents started talking to him again and started to financial support him, we moved into a new apartment. Nate said he wanted me to quit my job. I didn't, because it was his turn to take care of me. For 16 months everything was great. He spoiled me. Then I noticed he was more interested in his new friends. At times he ignored me completely. Back in December he did a 180 and he bombed me the whole month. He really went out of his way to make Christmas magical for me. I honestly believed he was going to propose on January the 2nd. He made me my favorite dinner and made this speech about me being his first love, how I've been there since high school. I kept thinking any minute now he's gonna ask me to marry him. But no, he dumped me as his speech went on. My world fell apart, and as much he tried to sugarcoat it, he basically said, "You were a good girlfriend, but that's what you always be to me, a girlfriend. I don't see you as my wife or the mother of my children, blah blah. You served your purpose now, I don't need you anymore, blah blah. I need someone on my level, blah blah. You're a gold digger, blah. I'll give you 30 days to move out." I couldn't speak and he stared at me looking for a response. I think this lasted 20 minutes before he said he'd sleep in the guest room, then left. Strangely, I didn't cry or get angry. I just ordered cardboard boxes online, then went to bed. The next day I waited for him to leave the apartment before I left my room. Then I called my boss, begged really, if I could transfer anywhere. She told me there wasn't anything, but if something came up in my department she'd consider me. I then reached out to everyone I knew that wasn't also Nate's friend for a place to stay. My cousin invited me to stay in her spare room for as long as I needed, and I could move in straight away, so that was amazing. In the 4 days it took me to pack my stuff and move out, I didn't see or speak to Nate. I doubt he even noticed. I didn't trust myself at the time to ignore a you up text, so I blocked him and everyone close to him, even changed me number/email to make sure he couldn't reach me. The first night at my cousin's was the night everything hit me. I think I cried every night the first month. I honestly felt like shit. I thought about what Nate said over and over again. It made me feel so low, like I was nothing. He only stayed with me because I was just there, but thankfully my cousin sent for my mom, other cousins, and real friends to give me an intervention which I badly needed. I believe that first month I wouldn't have made it without my cousin. I'm still healing and waiting on that job transfer because I feel like if I'm not in the same city as Nate and I have a place of my own, the fresh start would do me the world of good. I thought by now I'd be a distant memory for Nate, but shockingly he sent flowers to my job today for my birthday, which was on Sunday. Apparently he went to my parents' house looking for me too, and my mom admitted he's been before dropping off stuff and tried to ask questions about me, but they told him to fuck off. The flowers came with a card saying, "Dear Cassie, happy belated birthday. I've been thinking about you for non-stop for the last few months, especially with how everything ended. I need to get something off my chest that I feel will haunt me for the rest of my life if I don't tell you this to your face, but I've no way of contacting you. If it's possible, can we meet up in the near future, Nate?" What could he want? What's haunting him he needs to say to my face? Everyone in my life is telling me ignore him, but they hate him. I'm torn, but I can't lie. My curiosity is telling me meet him to see what he wants. Has anyone been in my shoes or in Nate's? Update: so we ended up meeting, and no, I didn't go to him. I had told the receptionist at my work if he came looking for just say I'm out for the day after he showed up once. I didn't want the drama of him around my job. So Nate just kept going to my usual places like the grocery store I go every Saturday evening or the park I ran at Sunday mornings, his words, till he would eventually run into me. And he did yesterday. He was waiting at the coffee shop I go to after my morning run. When I saw him I tried to turn around and leave, but he kept calling me, so I thought to myself if everything went pear-shaped a coffee shop would be safer than my walk home. So I just sat down and asked him what he wanted. He gave an apology that wasn't an apology, you know, the type with "I'm sorry but" and "pity me." He blamed his mental health, his job, his parents, his friends, everyone but himself. I took someone's advice on here and said, cut the crap, I already know everything. He genuinely looked shocked and stared at me for a second. I guess he thought his coworker already told me everything so he couldn't lie. Here's what really happened. He fell for a girl in his office. When he told me her name I knew her immediately. I've met her a few times. He told for the last 2 years he idolized her. To be fair, she's beautiful with an amazing personality. And he hated me because I was the one stopping them from being together because his coworker was too classy to be a side piece. When he broke up with me, he confessed to her that he was madly in love with her and he ended a 9-year relationship to be with her. Well, here's where it gets funny. She doesn't even like him, lol. She called him a piece of trash and told him if he ever spoke to her outside work she'd report him to HR. So I asked him, what has any of this got to do with me? Like, we are over. I clearly cut ties. There's no reason for us to speak. He wants to try again, promised we'd get married before the year ends, that we belong together. I told him no, I'm nobody's second choice. He threw me away after 9 years and said some pretty cruel things to me, and now he thinks if he snaps his fingers I'll come running back. He tried to beg and fake tears, bringing the good times in our relationship. I told him please leave me alone as he wasted too much of my time already. I texted my cousin to meet me at the coffee shop. He kept saying nonsense, even suggested if I went to couples counseling for a few months he'd leave me alone. The 20 minutes it took for my cousin to arrive felt like 20 years. In the end I just stopped listening and stood at the counter making small talk with baristas till my cousin arrived. She told him to fuck off and if he tried to follow us she'd call her brothers. He stayed in the coffee shop as far as I know and we just went home, that's it. It's only been a day but I feel like it's over and I'm free of him.